In today's video, we are going to discuss about how one can assess the accuracy of analytical method. So the accuracy of analytical method can be assessed by a recovery, and a recovery can be calculated with the calculation formula of the amount found divided by amount added into 100. So there are two important terms as far as the recovery is concerned. The term number one is how one can calculate the amount found, and the amount found can be calculated in terms of percent or maybe in terms of ppm or milligram per liter. And how one can assess the amount added. So during calculation of amount added, one has to be very clear onto the actual mass that has been added during the analytical experiments. So for example, if you have added 100 milligram of the API during preparation of recovery sample, but if the potency of the API is only 99%, then you have not added 100 milligram, but you have actually added 99 milligram of the API if you compensate the API for the potency. So this is one aspect of considering the potency during evaluation of milligram added or the true amount added during evaluation of the accuracy study. The another important aspect is one has to also understand the impurity or the API that has been added or any chemical substance that has been added during the recovery study. Is it into the same form of the amount found? For example, if you are establishing the recovery of, let us say, an impurity, now that impurity is a base impurity, but in case if that base impurity is not stable or not available or cannot be synthesized, and you have to synthesize the impurity as a sodium salt of that impurity. Now during calculation of amount added or the true amount, you need to also consider that it is not the sodium salt of the impurity A that has to be considered for impurity amount added or the true value of the amount of impurity A added, and hence you need to subtract that sodium salt, subtract that sodium atom from the impurity A base, and you need to have the consideration of converting the amount of impurity A salt equal to amount of impurity A base, and then calculate the amount of impurity A added in the form of the base, because your specification for impurity A is not a sodium salt of impurity A, it is only the base of impurity A. So this is one another important point one has to consider during calculation of amount of impurity or in any sense the amount of chemical substance added during recovery experiment. So now once we are clear onto this ground rules, the important consideration during accuracy evaluation, now let us jump into the actual experimentation part, and we are going to talk about the recovery calculation in case of, let us say, the drug substance and the drug product. So let us talk about how one can assess the accuracy in case of assay of the drug substance. So the recovery is generally established at three different concentration levels and in triplicate determinations. And what are those three levels? You can select. One can be, let us say, 50%, another can be 100%, and the third can be 150%. Now these percent levels are always with respect to the sample concentration. So for example, if your sample concentration is, let us say, 200 ppm in assay, so the 200 ppm is your 100%, and hence the 50% will become how much? It will become 100 ppm. So prepare three samples at the 100 ppm concentration level, so that will become your 50% accuracy samples. Similarly, prepare 200 ppm of API solution in triplicate, that becomes your 100% accuracy samples. Similarly, the 300 ppm concentration API solutions will become your 150% accuracy levels, and then evaluate the percent recoveries, and then identify how much is the recovery you are getting at the end of experiment. So generally, in case of chromatographic technique or the potentiometry technique, the limit of 98 to 102% is widely accepted. And if you get the percent recoveries in between 98 to 102, great, you have a accurate method in hand. So this is how one can establish the accuracy for the API assay test. Now let us understand how one can establish the percent recovery or accuracy for the related substances as far as the API is concerned. Now before we jump into the experimentation details, let us understand how one can evaluate the accuracy levels during the related substances experiment. So the lowest level will always be your LOQ during the accuracy of impurities. So the one level is fixed, and for that you need to evaluate the LOQ before you start conducting the accuracy study. Now let us understand how one can select 100% and how one can select the higher level. So there are generally three levels required to establish the accuracy study. So one is already defined, that is the lowest one, which is LOQ. The second level can be 100%, and the third level can be, let us say, 150%. And how one can understand what is the 100% of impurity level and what is 150% of impurity level during the accuracy study. So for that, we need to understand the specification for the impurity. And generally, in case of API, there are two kinds of specifications available. One is release spec and another one is shelf-life spec or the stability spec. So generally, as an industrial practice, the release spec will be a little stringent as compared to your shelf-life spec. The shelf-life spec will meet your monograph or compendium requirement, and release spec is your internal control so that at any given time of point you will always meet the shelf-life specification. So for example, there is an impurity A as a part of your API specification, and the spec of impurity A at release level is, let us say, 0.2%, and the spec of impurity A at shelf life is, let us say, 0.5%. So during accuracy study, you have to understand that you must cover both the specification, release as well as shelf life. If you only cover release specification, so 0.2% is, let us say, the release spec for impurity A, and 150% of that particular concentration will become 0.3%. So if you draw accuracy from LOQ to 0.3%, you are actually going to miss 0.5%, which is your shelf life specification. So with this concentration, you will not covering the shelf life spec requirement. So how one can define the upper level? So the upper level, in case of accuracy, must be considered as 150% with respect to your shelf life specification. So for example, in this case, the shelf life spec is how much? It is 0.5%. So 150% of 0.5 will become how much? 0.75%. So the highest level in case of accuracy for impurity A must be minimum 0.75%. So you are not only covering now the release spec, but also the shelf life spec. So how many levels can be selected? One is LOQ, which is already confirmed. The second you can think about the 0.2%, which is your release spec. The third level can be your 0.5%, which is your 100% with respect to shelf life. And the fourth level can be 0.75%, which is now 150% of your shelf life spec. So rather than covering three levels only, you can add one more level so that all these release and shelf life specification concentrations can be considered and can be covered during the accuracy study. So how one can understand what is the concentration at 0.2% level, 0.5% level, or 0.75% level for impurity A? And for that, we need to understand the sample concentration. So let us understand that the sample concentration is how much? Let us say 200 ppm. right? The 200 ppm is your sample concentration in related substances. So the 0.2% of 200 ppm will become your 0.2% for impurity A. And how much is the 0.2 percentage of 200 ppm? It will become 0.4 ppm. Yes, it is 0.4 ppm. So 0.4 ppm will become your second accuracy level, which is 0.2%. Then comes the 0.5%. So how much will be the 0.5% with respect to 200 ppm sample concentration? And it will become 1 ppm. Now 1 ppm impurity A will become your third accuracy level. Now the fourth accuracy level is how much? It is 0.75%. So 200 ppm is your 100%, and hence 0.75% will become 1.5 ppm. So prepare spiked impurity A solution at these four different concentration levels and then calculate the percent recovery. So for that, you need to analyze the as such unspiked API solution and then spike LO2 level and prepare the LO2 accuracy level in triplicate. Then for 0.2%, as we discussed that you have to spike 0.4 ppm. So spike 0.4 ppm impurity A into as such sample, that becomes your 0.2% accuracy level. Then comes 0.5%. So for 0.5%, as we discussed, 1 ppm is the concentration. So the spike 1 ppm of impurity A and then understand the percent recovery. Similarly, for 150%, spike 1.5 ppm of impurity A and then assess the percent recovery. So how much is the added and how much is the found? So this ratio, the amount found divided by amount added, will give you the percent recovery. Similarly, in case of a residual solvent, the similar approach can be used. But in case of residual solvent, you will not have a different spec for release and the shelf life. So there is no confusion as far as the residual solvent levels are concerned. So if there is a limit of 5000 ppm for, let us say, IPA, isopropanol, so you have to understand that if 5000 ppm is 100%, so what should be my, let us say, 50% and then 150%, and the last lowest level is already LO2. Remember that in case of related substances and residual solvent, we need to start accuracy from the LO2 level. So LO2 level becomes your lowest accuracy level, and then you can have the further 2 to 3 different accuracy levels. So one can be, let us say, 50%, then 100%, and the 150%. So how to understand 50% of the 5000 ppm? So the 5000 ppm is your 100%, and hence the 50% will become 2500 ppm. So spike 2500 ppm of the IPA into the sample and then calculate the amount found. Similarly, spike 5000 ppm of IPA into the sample solution for 100% accuracy level and spike 7500 ppm for 150% accuracy level and then calculate amount of IPA found. So this is how the accuracy study for assay related substances and residual solvent in case of API can be evaluated. Now let us understand how one can calculate the accuracy in case of finished product. So what are the various test parameters we generally covered during method validation? One can be assay, resolution, related substances, and there can be residual solvents. So let us begin our discussion with the assay method validation in case of finished products like a tablet. So in case of tablet, one can assess the percent recovery by spiking the equivalent amount of API into the placebo. So how one can identify the weight of the placebo and weight of the API that needs to be spiked during accuracy study? So the requirement is what? Minimum 3 levels and in triplicate preparations. So let us assume that we are going to evaluate the accuracy at 50%, 100% and 150%. Now how to understand the concentration at 50%? So for that, again, the basic is what? What is the sample concentration? And then you realize that the sample concentration in test preparation is the API concentration in test preparation is, let us say, 200 ppm. So 200 ppm becomes your 100%. And then for 50%, you have to spike how much? You have to spike 100 ppm. So for example, if your preparation process is this way, weigh a sample quantity equivalent to 200 milligram or 20 milligram and then dilute to 100 ml. 20 milligram equivalent of the API sample diluted to 100 gives how much ppm? It gives 200 ppm. Now that is your actual sample preparation procedure as per the method of analysis. And you know that my tablet weight is, average weight of the tablet is, for example, 100 milligram. And your label claim is 20 milligram. I'm making little bit simpler. So as you are weighing 20 milligram of the sample, which is equivalent to your label claim, and the average weight of the tablet is 100 milligram. So once you weigh 20 milligram of the API, how much milligram of the placebo will be present in the sample? Because your average weight is 100 milligram. And the 100 milligram of the tablet will have the 20 milligram of the API. Now as you have weighed 20 milligram of the tablet powder, right? You have to weigh how much milligram of the crushed tablet powder? 100 milligram of the crushed tablet powder. And out of this 100 milligram of the crushed tablet powder, the 20 milligram will be an API. So the leftover 80 milligram, 100 minus 20, that is 80 milligram, will be your placebo. So you understand now, in my sample preparation, I will have 20 milligram of the API and I will have 80 milligram of the placebo. So once you identify the amount of placebo, you need to keep this placebo amount similar in all accuracy studies. And then let us understand now how one can prepare an accuracy solution for 50%. So weigh 80 milligram of the placebo, and then how much milligram of the API needs to be added? Because at 100% level, we are taking 20 milligram of the API. So for 50% level, you have to take half of that quantity and it will become 10 milligram. So 10 milligram of the API plus 80 milligram of the placebo. Now this becomes your combination for 50% accuracy level. And have a triplicate preparations done for 50%. And then the next one is now 100% accuracy level. So for 100% accuracy level, take 20 milligram of the API plus 80 milligram placebo. That becomes your 100% level. Now for 150% level, you have to take 30 milligram of the API and then again 80 milligram placebo. So this entire experiment will meet your accuracy requirement as per as assay of finished product is concerned. And then calculate the percent recovery. So what is the general criteria requirement for assay of finished product? It is again the 98 to 102%. So this is how the recovery or accuracy of API in case of finished products like tablet can be undertaken. Now the second parameter is what? The dissolution. So how one can assess the accuracy in case of dissolution study? For that, you need to again have the similar equation, the placebo weight and the API weight. And we know that how we have calculated the placebo weight. Now in case of dissolution, we are performing the dissolution on single unit, on the 6 dissolution units by using 1 unit per dissolution bar. So your sample is how much? 1 unit or 1 tablet. And we will take the same example of a tablet having average weight of 100 milligram with label claim of 20 milligram. So the 80 milligram is your placebo weight and 20 milligram is your API weight because label claim is 20 milligram. And hence you understand now, during accuracy study for dissolution also, I need to have a 80 milligram placebo across all the 3 different levels, because accuracy in case of placebo accuracy in case of resolution can also be evaluated at three different levels. For example, 50%, 100%, and 150%. Now I am talking about the immediate release formulation. We will also talk about how one can assess the accuracy for the modified release formulation. So let us first understand the accuracy study for immediate release formulation. So what are the levels we discussed? 50, 100 and 150%. And how much is the placebo weight? It is 80 milligram. And how much is the API weight? It is 20 milligram. Now this is the scenario at 100%. So how one can prepare the 50% accuracy samples? 80 milligram placebo, add 80 milligram of the placebo into a bowl, and then how much of the API needs to be added now? The half of the 100% level. And how much is the API at 100% level? It is 20 milligram. So half of 20 milligram will become how much? It is 10 milligram. So 10 milligram API plus 80 milligram placebo, this becomes your combination at 50% accuracy level. And how many preparation needs to be done? Triplicate preparations. Similarly, prepare the 100% level by adding 20 milligram API and 80 milligram placebo. And for 150%, 30 milligram API plus 80 milligram placebo. And then calculate the percent recoveries. So what is the limit as far as dissolution accuracy is concerned? 95 to 105% is widely accepted. So this is how the accuracy of immediate release formulation can be done. Now in case of modified release formulation, you have to conduct the accuracy not between the 50 to 150%, but for that you need to understand what is my lowest possible specification and the highest possible specification. So in case of modified release product, let us say you have three different time points for the dissolution. The first time point is 4th hour, the second time point is 12th hour, and the third and the last time point is, let us say, 24th hour. So in case of 4-hour time point, which is your first time point, your release peak is what? Let us say 30% to 50%. Now with the 30% to 50%, what is the lowest dissolution peak now? Because we know that for 12th hour and 24th hour, the release percentage will always be higher. The limit and spec will always be higher. So the lowest spec is your first release time point, which is 4th hour. And for that, what is the spec? It is 30 to 50%. So 30% now becomes your lowest specification. So as far as the ICH guideline is concerned, you have to consider the lowest accuracy value by subtracting 20% from your lowest available spec. And in our case, it is 30%, the lowest spec. Yes or no? So 30 minus 20 becomes 10%. So the 10% now becomes your first lowest accuracy level. Right? And the second level you can decide based on the, let's say, 100%. And then the last level can be your, let us say, 150%. So this way the accuracy levels as per as the modified release specification, modified release finished product is concerned shall be decided, and you have to be very, very careful while selecting the lowest accuracy level. Now, but as per ICH, if you look at the highest level also can be selected based on the highest available spec. And what is the time points wherein you will have the highest spec now? It will be at 24th hour, because in our example we have a specification with 4th hour, 12th hour and 24th hour. So for 24th hour, let us say the spec limit is not less than 80%. So 80% becomes your highest spec. So highest spec plus 20% is becomes your now the highest accuracy level. So 20 plus 20, 80% plus 20% becomes how much? 100%. So to meet the ICH guideline, you can keep highest accuracy level as now 100%. So the lowest level was how much? 10%. Then you can select in between level as a 50%. And then your third and the last level can be 100%. So these three levels are also acceptable as far as the ice age is concerned. But still, if you have another level like 150%, that is also going to be acceptable. So what are now your accuracy levels? 10%, 50%, 100% and 150%. So this way, for modified release formulations, one has to be very careful during selection of the accuracy level. So the requirement remains same: triplicate preparation at each level and accuracy limit of 95 to 105%. And your method will be then proved to be accurate. Now let us move further on to the related substances. So how one can assess the accuracy in case of related substances during finished product method validation. The logic remains same. As in the case of API, we talked about release spec and the shelf life spec. So the same approach can be used during evaluating the accuracy levels. And we will take the same example of impurity A having a release spec of 0.2% and shelf life spec of 0.5%. And what is the lowest level in case of RS and residual solvent? It is always the LOQ. So your LOQ is fixed. Your lowest accuracy level is fixed. Now you need to understand what are the next levels. And as we discussed that the accuracy study must cover both release and shelf life spec. So as the release spec is 0.2% and shelf life spec is 0.5%, and if you intend to cover the accuracy up to 150%, then it must be 150% of your shelf life spec, which is 0.5%. And hence the 150% of 0.5 will be how much? 0.75. So your highest level should be minimum 0.75%. And you can have another two different levels. One can be 0.2% and another can be 0.5%. Right? Now you have now four different accuracy levels. One is LOQ, then impurity A at 0.2%, impurity A at 0.5%, and then impurity A at 0.75%. So how to understand the concentration of impurity A at these various levels? So LOQ is fixed and you know the concentration. Now how one can understand the concentration of 0.2%? And the logic remains same. You have to understand the sample concentration. And for example, your sample concentration is, let us say, 1000 ppm. Okay, so 1000 ppm becomes now your 100%. And then the 0.2% will become how much? It will become 2 ppm. So you need to spike 2 ppm of impurity A into the test sample, not in the placebo, in the test sample. And then as you have added 2 ppm, how much amount of impurity A has been recovered, have been found? Okay, is it 1.8 ppm or 1.9 ppm? How much? Then the ratio of amount found divided by amount of impurity added into 100 will become your percent recoveries. So for 0.2%, spike 2 ppm of the impurity into the sample, and for 0.5% level, how much impurity concentration needs to be spiked? As we know that our sample concentration is 1000 ppm, so the 0.5% becomes 5 ppm. So spike 5 ppm of the impurity A into the test sample and then evaluate the percent recovery. And for 0.75%, you need to spike 7.5 ppm of impurity A into the test sample and then calculate the percent recovery. So this is the way the accuracy for related substances in case of finished product can be assessed. And finally now, it is residual solvent. So in case of residual solvents, the approach is this way. The lowest accuracy level is your LOQ, and you know the LOQ of your residual solvent method. The next level can be, let us say, 50%, then 100%, and the last one is 150%. Minimum 3 levels are sufficient. Minimum 3 levels are sufficient, or you can select the LOQ level, then 100%, and let us say then 150%. So for example, let us take an example of an IPA with the spec of 5000 ppm. So the 5000 ppm becomes your 100%. And then 150% is how much? 7500 ppm. So that becomes your 150% accuracy level for the IPA. So spike 5000 ppm of the IPA in the test sample and then calculate the percent recovery, that becomes your 100% test solution. Then spike 7500 ppm of the IPA into the test solution, that becomes your 150% sample preparation. So by this is the way how one can calculate the recoveries for various test parameters. So we covered in this video the API as well as finished products for assay, then for dissolution, related substances, and the residual solvents. I hope you must have now understand how one can calculate the percent recoveries. And I forgot to talk about the limit for the related substances. So generally, the limit of 85 to 115% is widely accepted in case of residual solvents and related substances. But I have also seen people giving little relaxed limit for the residual solvents, like let us say 75 to 125% or 70% to 130%. So you may also have a SOP with little wider limit for the residual solvent. But as far as related substances is concerned, I think 85 to 115% is widely accepted and followed. So this is how the recovery can be established. So I hope you must have got an overview now how one can evaluate and design the experiment to conduct the recoveries or accuracies for API methods and the finished products method. So thank you very much for watching till the end, and I will meet you soon in another such kind of interactive and interesting video. Thank you very much and take care. Bye bye.